Let's go on a short trip. Imagine that you're a doctor in a pediatrics hospital. You're sitting and a mother and a father come in with their child and throw him on you. You try to feel the baby and all extremities, the legs and hands are very cold and there are no signs of life on the child. You ask them what happened and they tell you that the child had been diarrheaing for 10 hours straight. 10 hours straight, and they thought that the baby would get well with time. What would you do as the doctor? My name is Ruguru Kimani. I am a medical student and a parenting and pediatrics blogger. I'm here to give you a few tips to ensure that you are not the next patient with us in the hospital. Today we will be talking about the danger signs that you should watch out to know that it's time to take your child to a medical professional. We will now discuss the major signs that when you see in a child, you should know that it is time to take them to the hospital. I would like to call them danger signs to see in a child and when you should take them to hospital. If a child is having signs of dehydration, you will see this in case they're having a dry mouth, they're having dry eyes, or the number of diapers that you're changing in a day are reduced. If you change 2 in a day, probably you're actually changing 1 or even none. Dehydration is mostly brought about by diarrhea and also severe vomiting. So if your child is vomiting continuously and diarrheaing continuously and you can visibly see that they're getting dehydrated, you should see a medical practitioner. Also, if your child is having a fever, if the temperature of their body is obviously raised to a level that you think is alarming, then they should see a doctor. Fever comes along when there is an infectious process going on in the body, what I would like to call an inflammatory process. This is mostly caused by a disease state that should be addressed by a doctor to see the kind of treatment that they should take through them. To add into that, if your child is restless, if they normally sleep straight for 6 to 7 hours, but this time round, they keep on waking up and having breaks of sleep and crying and moving around the bed, then you should know that they are having a problem. Also, if your child is unresponsive or is having a different kind of behavior, this should also warn you that something is wrong with your baby. If normally you come home and your baby jumps around and smiles and plays, but this time round they're sitting down looking bored, this is a behavior that is unresponsive and should warn you that your baby is not feeling well and that's why they're not able to react to you the way they normally would do it. Also, if your baby stops feeding, if they normally eat a lot of food or take 5 milk bottles in a day, but this time round it is reduced, or they're completely not interested in it, or they even refuse to breastfeed, this is a sign that they're not feeling well. Children who are normally feeling well and are in a state of well-being eat as usual and enjoy taking food. So if your baby simply does not want to eat and is not interested in food, this should actually indicate to you that your baby is not feeling well. Also, if your baby presents with seizures or convulsions, this is not very common, but if it occurs when you are at home, do not ignore it when it stops and you think that probably they will get well on their own. This should warn you that the baby is having a problem in their body, they're having an infection, they're having a disease that needs to be addressed in the hospital. To add on to that, if a child presents with seizures or convulsions, you should be scared. This is not common, but it occurs in different disease states, for example, meningitis or complicated malaria. And this is one of the reasons that should take you into a hospital. Jump into the next motorbike or just car and rush to the nearest hospital and make sure that they see a doctor. I hope that you've enjoyed this experience from me to you. Thank you.